like shit, so we're gonna fix that. There we go. He has such a strange face. Alright, next step is sort of the eye sockets, but not really. And the nose, because I'm using dark for both of those. I'm probably gonna binge watch the series after this. My favorite episode was what was it called? Boozoo's Christmas or something like that. The whole thing with mortality and just that whole ending segment was so good. No, there haven't been witch hunts. Ooh, this ear's too fat. No! Let's fix that real quick. His ears are also segmented too. And they have white on the underside. Alright, next step is adding the underside white to his ears. And then we're going to add shading to that. His eyes are green, right? Can someone double check that for me? Okay, yeah, they're green. Thank you. He technically has eyebrows. We're gonna add some really small ones up here. And we're gonna add some eyebrows. I mean, I don't think he has eyebrows, but I'm just adding it here for just the sort of animatronic effect. Alright, he does have blue eyelids. So I'm just gonna add those real quick. That sort of follow the shape of the eye while also staying inside the socket. It's not a big shape, but it does add a lot. Alright, now we're gonna add his dusty little eyelashes. And then we're gonna add some shading to them. And then I'm gonna add some shading to sort of show that they're like inside the socket. Alright, that's looking good. I feel like some nice flat brush would make this look more eerie. So I'm gonna grab from the actual reference over here, because this is a fantastic model they made. And then I'm just kind of gonna go at it, I guess. Alright, he's got sort of like pinks, yellows, and like this blue shading here. So we're gonna start with like a gray pink with the flat brush. Add some yellow, and then with a smaller shape. And then get a nice blue in there for the darker parts. And then we're gonna add some black. And we're gonna add some black right here too to sort of accentuate that little cleft between the lips. All right, next step is the main head over here. We are going to be shading that. All right, and there's sort of a bit of a shading in between the seam of the blue and the white. So I'm gonna add that real quick. This will look better with the line art. Okay. Next step I feel should be the teeth, just because we're already here. Add some yellow. All right, now we're gonna shade the ears real quick. All right, and the inside of the mouth that we're now moving on to is dark. We're gonna move all that down there. Might have made his eyes too big, so I'm gonna move them around just a little bit before I am done. Ooh, there we go. All right, A and B. B looks a lot better. So I'm gonna be keeping that. Just because there is like a significant gap. That's like one of the most defining things about him, that the eyes are low set. So I'm just gonna be lightly fixing that. That looks good. Alright, now we can go on to the inside of the mouth. Thank you, Sigma. The inside of his mouth is like a very dark color. And then just sort of round the shape of that with the flat brush. Alright, now I'm gonna double check. He does have bottom teeth, so I'm gonna be adding some really tiny ones that are a darker color than the ones on top. Just along where the ruff was, if you remember. He had... Alright, there we go. Now I can shade that. And before I forget, I should shade the nose too before we move on to the body. Add a light shine to the nose. Brush was a little too small there, so I'm gonna get a bigger one. And then kind of cut away at it with the darker brush. Alright, there we go. The head's just about done. How long have I been drawing, guys? Like a couple... I started at 3:30, so like... plus the rough sketch that I did, that's like 40 minutes from starting, like the start point. Thank you. Yeah, the regulars in the comments can tell you I'm very quick. Alright, next step is the torso, which is going to be coming completely down almost. We're gonna get rid of the references real quick so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, we're gonna start with the torso. Oh, I remember Black Christmas. That's the horror movie, right? Oop, did not close the shape. Alright, there we go. Nah, I'm a big horror buff. Like just the other day, one of my coworkers had a Hereditary tattoo, and I pointed it out, and they're like, "Wow, you're the first person to notice that." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is kind of my job." Okay, back to the reference. He's got like one button. This belly part starts high up on the chest and then tapers down. Alright. So we're gonna start it roughly up here for now, just because he's leaning forward more, so it's gonna be lower down than the reference. Then we're gonna taper it. We're gonna do the same on the other side. On that one, on this side, it's like just barely touching the edge of the torso piece. Then we're tapering that down too. And then we're gonna loop it at the bottom because it's rounded out on the original. Then I'm gonna add some little wiggles to the side just because it's sort of like a baggy piece of cloth. Oh yeah, I've been drawing since like before I was born. I'm doing this for a while. Oh right, forgot his little crack in his face. Where'd Bond go? Okay. His starts here, goes up. And then kind of bleh right there. Okay, we're gonna do a separate layer for that. And if it looks good, we'll keep it. Alright, we're gonna do a very wiggly line for that. And then, yeah. Yeah, when they were making me, they were like, hey, you want to do this? And I'm like, sure. And they were like, all right, that's what you're going to do forever now. And I'm like, what? Yeah, that's going to be your life skill. I'm like, fuck. I wish you told me earlier that that was my one thing. I would have picked sculpting or something. Or actual painting. But I very much enjoy this. What I'm doing right now is I'm following the lines of the torso with a flat brush again, so I can kind of give it that baggy look. And we're going to smooth up some of this real quick, just so it has more of that bag look once we clip it all together. Alright, the bottom of it is the most wrinkly. Okay. It sort of goes bleh. Go down, swoop to the sides, and then sort of comes together down there. Well, actually it's flat, horizontal. So we're gonna clip this all together real quick, just so I don't mess up the shape. Smooth out bits. All right. And now we're gonna work on the bottom. We're gonna see what this does real quick. I got the hiccups. All right, that's good. Add one more little thing right here. All right, that's good. We're gonna keep that. Thank you. Oh yeah, I got a comic going right now called Burning Reeds and a couple other projects I've been working on. Tonight is when I update my Gravity Falls fic. And I'm currently chipping away at chapter 2 of my horror comic Burning Reeds. Alright, torso's done on the back, so we're gonna shade that now. Alright, I'll be right back. I gotta turn the fan on. It is getting insanely hot in here. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, all my stories currently that I'm working on are pinned. And I also have a Patreon that's linked on my page if you want to check that out. Alright, the blue parts have like a harsher shadow compared to like the white part for obvious reasons because it's just a darker color overall. And it wrinkles in this direction, but at the tight it's pulled tighter. So those are going to be straight lines up here. And then once we're done with that, we can put on the collar and the little bow tie. Alright. I also use flat brush for stuff like cloth, just because it looks really nice. Okay, it's just about almost completely dark underneath the pit. That's also where it connects anyway. Alright, so then at the top now, we're going to give it straight lines because this is where the cloth is tighter. Or like lines that follow the shape of it, I guess. I'm also going to be adding an additional shading to the white part because this cloth sits on top of the blue part rather than it being stitched on. That way it looks like it's on top. Okay, those are good. His face is in front of where the button would be, I think. Maybe. Well, for now, let's add the collar. And then we gotta add the inside part. Cut away at that so it looks more dark. I also want it to look more hollow in there too. So I'm gonna make his collar a bit bigger than it is on the reference. Just because of the style I'm trying to go for here with like the dopey animatronic character. Right now I'm gonna hide the back layer just so I can see what I'm doing again. With the end of the collar right here. Gonna give it a bit of a dip because that's where the cloth intersects on it. Shit. I always forget to close the shape. And then we're gonna do a smaller line over here. And this will be hidden, so we don't have to worry about that. But we do have to close the shape so I can get in there. I'm gonna copy that and then just go on the layer behind it and drop in black. Alright, now we can have the torso back. Add additional shading underneath the collar so it pops out more. There we go. Okay, next step is shading the collar. Same color shading that we used on the white bit. And it's going to be darker in the back and on the top lid of the collar. That's a little too rough, so we gotta fix that. And we're gonna make it especially darker underneath the chin so it looks like he's coming forward in space. Now I'm gonna use the round brush just so the shadow looks a bit smoother. When I'm done, I'm gonna smudge it so the shape looks softer. Yeah, he's gonna be coming out of the frame with the top of his head and his arm over here. The bottom's going to be in the frame. Okay. Next step is the little bow he's got with the cheetah print. Oh, one sec. That thing, TikTok absolutely hates that I don't use filters, so every now and then it's gonna freeze up. But we're fine now. Now I'm just adding the bow. And then his little button that he's got will be directly underneath. Right there. And now I can shade the bow. I think there is a brush. Yeah, Fernamix looks vaguely cheetah shaped, so we're gonna use that. Bring it down, warp it to fit the shape better. There we go. Now we can clip that. And there we go, cheetah print. Alright, and before we combine the bow and everything, we gotta add that sort of crack in his torso too. Then we're gonna do quick little red bits. All right, now we can add the crack, or the rip, I guess. Because it's cloth, I think I'm gonna make it look more like a rip. So for that, I'm gonna completely ignore my sketch. Just so I can kind of vaguely start to figure out how exactly I want this done. Whoops, the shape is not closed. That does not look good, so I'm gonna get rid of that. I don't like that. I am gonna go back to the original idea I had and having it look more like this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, this is better. I've used Procreate about 5 years now, I think. I started using it in college. Okay, that doesn't look half bad, but I gotta make the shapes a little rougher so it doesn't look as clean cut. See ya, Sigma. This looks like a million times better once the line art layer's on, just to let you know. Gonna darken up these shapes so it looks more sunken in with the round brush. Sort of. Won't be adding Ghost Spawn at this stage because I'm still deciding whether I want to put him in the chest or if I want to put him like in the background here. It'd also be better just to use the jagged brush, actually. Not to that extent. We're gonna do straight lines for this. Kinda. That's kinda doing it. So I'm gonna leave this be for now. Maybe make it a bit higher up. Yeah, there we go. Alright, and then in the line art layer, I'm gonna make this look more... less bleh. Kind of like what I started doing up here. The face is looking real good so far. But for right now, we're gonna move on to the little jacket, or Rosemary's jacket. We're gonna get rid of the reference sheet again, move that down so I can see the outline I had going. And we're gonna grab a reference picture for Rosemary. We're gonna put her over here. And now we're just gonna work on a little sweater. These are gonna be really shaky lines because cloth is a very like woo kind of shape. Where the arms intersect with the torso, it's gonna be a bit baggier, hence this line right here. Up here, it's gonna be a little straighter because it's being pulled down by gravity. We're gonna pull this down. Where did I have? All right, that's good. Gonna fix this arm again. Oh, that's why I didn't add the bottom, because it's gonna be covered by the sweater. Oop, the shape is not closed again. Can never do that the first time, apparently. Alright, I think it's ready. Alright, there we go. Okay, jacket's there. I think for this we are going to use a nice kind of orange color for the shading because it's yellow. And we're just gonna follow the curls that I already know exist in the shape from practice. And then after I shade this, I can show you guys the panels of Burning Reeds that I was working on today that are for Patreon. Why am I using the brown brush for this? Alright, now we're doing my favorite part, which is adding the abstract brush. Because I love what this does to cloth. And then we're probably going to use this texture for the patterns on the inside later. This also helps add like a really nice textured sort of line language to it that I really like. Alright, that's ready, so we're going to clip that. That's already looking real good. So we're going to mess with the opacity and everything. Overlay seems our best bet. The logistics, I do the shape first and then the line art. I kind of follow what the shape does with the lines after everything else is done. For stuff like cloth, it's a little harder. Just a lot of like following a sort of looping shape like this. Because gravity likes to pull things down to the center. Right now I'm using a kind of dark green for like the harsher shading. And we are going to figure out what that does when I'm done. A lot of this stuff really is just me eyeballing and just kind of figuring out like, ooh, what does this do with this color? Or what does this brush do when I apply it to this brush? Stuff like that. Also, a cool way I've found to do like wrinkles in a shirt is I'll do this. I'll apply the round brush to one side where I want it to be, and then I'll just erase the other side of that, and it creates this vague shape right here. Oh, hey, Spring. Keep a lookout for the new Gravity Falls chapter sometime tonight. That'll be fun. It's a very long chapter, which is why it's taking so long to come out. Yeah, tonight. I'm also surprised how popular that fic is getting. Because there's only 3 chapters out and it's already almost at like 8,000 views, and it's like, whoa. You guys really wanted this. Alright, so I'm going to clip that, and then I'm going to kind of work away at it, the shape. I like what it was doing on this side with the sleeve, so I'm going to try to apply that to this sleeve over here. And then we're going to add a bit of yellow right here, just because I want this part more highlighted than it is. Because it's supposed to look like someone's torso. Alright, and then after this we're going to add the blood. And then we can start on the line art for the jacket. And then I think that is where we're gonna call it a night before my phone destroys itself. So for blood, I normally like to do a sort of like dark red color, like usually around here with the flat brush. I'm just gonna make it a little bit brighter because it's already on a bright shape, and we want this to look a bit more fresher. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is I'm going to sort of figure out exactly how much of a certain color is needed in this spot, because you saw what I was doing there. I didn't like it. I want it to be a little bit brighter on the cloth, so I'm going to use this color right here. And that's good, so we're going to keep that. And I'm going to clip it for the sake shape so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to add some vague shapes here to kind of imply that the blood soaked into the cloth. I'm also going to be using the line art brush I usually use for this to like imply the more specific shades that's going on. This is a big shape. We're also doing this on a separate layer still, just because in case I don't like how it ends up, I can always go back out and fix it. It's looking a little too linear, so I'm going to add another sploosh right here. Then I'm going to add more blood to this sleeve over here. Oh shit! Hey Jesse. I really love your comic. Right now I'm doing some Walton Files stuff. Alright, now that the main shape is done, I can start going in with the little details with my line art tool, the tinderbox. If you remember what I said before, I want to add like the wheat pattern down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the tinderbox tool and add some vague lines, because I decided while drawing this that I want it to be a bit more sort of like following the pattern of like what you would see on a normal jacket. So I'm going to figure out how exactly I want to do that by doing this. There we go. Alright, I kind of like that. So we're gonna work with this shape real quick. So I'm gonna be doing, let's say, 4 line leaf segments and then the top of the reed right here. And then we're gonna do that pattern along, and then we're gonna mess with it. Yeah, this little diamond shape is to end the pattern and to also help it resemble the wheat from Wonderland. And I'm probably going to do that along the sleeves too. And I'm thinking of having it face the other way. That might be a kind of cool pattern where it's sort of like crisscrosses or just sort of like juxtaposes each other. So we're gonna start with the bulb over here just so it doesn't look too much like a pattern. And then we're gonna do the bulb again. We're gonna be doing the stream until my phone sort of overheats and stops the stream. So if you ever see that it froze on your end, that just know that's because my phone stopped, and then we can try again in like probably tomorrow or something. Okay, and now we're doing it the other way again. And then I'm probably going to be copying this pattern and then putting it on the sleeves and the collar up top and see how that goes. Oh, those are too far apart. Okay, those are about done. So what I'm gonna do now is just sort of copy it, move it around, see how much of a certain texture I can get away with. So that was too much, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna warp it down so it's following the shape of the bottom of the sweater more. Oh, hey Spring. Right now I'm drawing some Walton Files stuff. And now that I zoomed out, I see that it would be better for what I'm trying to do if I move her collar more over here so that there's room to see into the chest when I get to that point. And because of that, we're gonna warp this. And I'm gonna copy that and just sort of move it around and see how that interacts with the rest of the outfit. I'm gonna move that over here. I'm gonna move this up here. And then I'm gonna merge those together and then clip it to see how it looks. Because I want this to be a subtle pattern. I want you to barely be able to see it, but I also want it to be able to stand out against the yellow, so we're gonna be messing with that right now. All right, what I'm gonna be doing right now is sort of messing with the shapes, and I'm going to be lowering the opacity. I'm gonna grab this because I want it to be following the curve of the collar more. I'm gonna be moving that around right here. The rest of this looks fine for now. I could probably do a pattern right here, but that might be too much. Okay, yeah, right now we're gonna add the line art to the sweater, and then we're gonna add his hands holding it up, and then I think we're gonna be done for today. Okay, her lines are kind of like it is yellow, but it comes up as green because of color theory. So I'm gonna use using green at first to see how it looks once the actual like line art is done, and we're gonna see how it looks. And if I don't like it, we can always change the color when I'm done. It's gonna be thick outline and then thinner lines on the inside to sort of show the stitching. That's too many squiggles. We're gonna do one loop here, one loop there. And now we're just gonna follow the basics that I normally do for cloth shapes. Her stomach. I'm probably gonna fix how flat the middle of this looks when I add the rendering at the end. All right, this is gonna be a whole line right here because this is where those little lines on sweaters go. Oop, that was too much. I'm gonna add this as a solid line. All right, now we can work on the lines in here. All right, I feel like this is a good line color for the sweater just because it's already so bright. Okay, so hers comes down like almost entirely down, so it's gonna have a bit of stripe to it going down that we're gonna follow the vague wrinkle shapes for. That'll probably be the last step for this sweater. This is looking a little weird, so I think this needs a line right here to show it's curling around. Yeah, there we go. Okay. This is probably also something that the warp tool will help with when we're done with the line art. But you see how it's turning out. You see what I'm plotting. Also, his hands are going to be right here and right here, so I'm not too worried about the shape. Or at least not at this point. I'm going to be adding these fun little lines in here. That's too much right there. We're going to be following an already pre-done shape. It's looking good. Okay, now this side right here. Oh, right, the little ruffle lines at the end. Yeah, these lines are really helping to both add like a nice sort of style to the shading and add like wrinkle lines to it. Okay. I'm gonna add a faint one right here on the side just because this also looks a little too flat. All right, that's good. These don't have to be lines that are completely solid through. They can be choppy like what I'm doing here, because what we're just doing now is implying the lines. Okay. And for her, it comes down and then the jacket thing lines are separate. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do an even thinner line now because the rest of these don't quite matter as much, but it's all just gonna be like shapes of a sweater. And also the way I treat it, all these shapes are individual things. So this shape right here, I finished the line for it, and this is gonna have like a different thing, just to imply that these are not a solid shape and that it's a sweater that's overlapping with itself. These are going to be extremely thin lines to imply that. Because the way I do it, thicker lines on the outside just to help control the shape, and then even thinner lines on the inside. So like seam lines will be thicker, main wrinkles will be thicker, but the lines of the stitching will be extremely faint, like what I'm doing now. Yep, you see what I'm doing? You're treating each of these main blocks as individual shapes that need their own pattern going on. One more little thing here. This side of the arm is done. This is what I'm gonna do for the rest of this. And then I think my phone will let me keep working until then. But after that, I think we have to take a break. Also, you see what I'm doing here? I'm following these like really tiny lines because this is where the jacket wrinkles the most. This takes a really long time to figure out if you want to try practicing this. But like near the ribs, near like where the cloth intersects is where it's at its wrinkliest. All right, this is a big shape here. All right, so far so good, so we're just gonna keep at this. I'm begging my phone not to give up yet. I will be posting this segment that you saw me do on the sweatshirt on Twitter. So if you want to see like a better quality version of the jacket, at least at this point, it will be on there. Oh right, I completely ignored this side of the body. The lefty's curse over here, it's getting me. Alright, so we're gonna add the wrinkle lines that I forgot to do real quick. That was too much. Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it, Chroma. Please. We are doing so well. What have you done? There's like the famous last words right there. Okay. Those lines are done. We're gonna continue the sweater lines. And I'm begging my phone not to give up. Please hold on until I'm done with the lines of this at least. Oh yeah, after this stream I will be finishing up for Gravity Falls, the fic, for the new chapter, and then tomorrow we will be continuing the stream for this. I will probably be home around 6 o'clock. Alright, now these lines over here, they come out. Come on, phone, we're so close to being done. Okay, alright. Jacket's done. I will be posting this rough draft to Tumblr and Twitter, and then to Patreon. Please come join my Patreon if you can. I am insanely busy. and any support that you guys are able to show me helps a lot. Alright, thank you guys for sticking with me on this, and I will be continuing this drawing tomorrow around probably 6 o'clock. See you guys later.